2023. 84-year-old Oded Lifshitz. This is video from inside his home located in southern Israel. Hamas burned it, killed his neighbors, and kidnapped nearly 100 people from his village. Social media influencer and commentator and author Ollie London had visited his home.
He loved playing his music. It was one of his joys in life, and these are just the remnants of his beloved piano, charred and burned completely.
Seeing those images really brings you there, and we are pleased Ollie London can join us to talk about today's release. Ollie, I know you've been over in Israel speaking with families recently. Tell us about what you are seeing and hearing from the people in this really fragile ceasefire deal, but one, albeit, is seeing some people come home and be reunited, and we are grateful for that.
Well, Bianca, thank you very much for having me. And today we saw the release of 3 Israeli hostages and 5 Thai nationals that had been held hostage for 481 days. And we saw them paraded through the streets of Gaza with thousands of civilians, mobbing them, jeering at them, taunting them. We saw a scuffle break out with the Palestinians trying to push and shove an 80-year-old man who was being released.
We have some of that
captivity.
video. Let's play that while Ollie's talking. It's hard to watch. Continue, my friend.
Yeah, so we saw also Agam Berger, we saw Arbel, these young, frightened women surrounded by these crowds of thousands of people jeering and taunting at them. And it really was this final indignity to these hostages that suffered so much. And the female hostage, Arbel, had been held in isolation alone the entire time in captivity. So she didn't have contact or access to see any other hostages. And I happened to be at the hospital where Agam Berger was sent to today for medical care. The medical director of the hospital said that compared to what she's been through, she is in good health, obviously with significant trauma, and she was reunited with 4 other female hostages that were released in the previous hostage release. But, you know, there's really so many emotions in Israel at the moment for the families being united, but also other families that are not sure if their hostage members will be alive or dead when they are returned to Israel.
Well, that's just it, Ollie. And, you know, the video, I think we were trying to find it, but it was so disturbing because you're right. Someone who's been in captivity for hundreds of days is released, and then there's this chaos in the street. It actually caused Israel for a moment to say, whoa, hold on. We may not release the Palestinian prisoners because this is not a humanitarian way. If you're going to release people, stop filming it. They were filming it for pure propaganda. You know very well in your very many travels over there and speaking with the people that this is a fragile deal. One they hope obviously will hold, but one never knows. And obviously the question is what happens to Gaza. Donald Trump has talked about having them go to Jordan, where many Palestinians are Jordanian as well, and Egypt. And it's a complicated sort of situation right now. So how do you feel about the potential for this holding and what the future of the Middle East, especially under this new administration, may look like? We know Netanyahu will be here. So very, very different relations that are going on.
Yeah, well, it's a very fragile situation. And over the last year, Israel has been attacked on 7 different fronts. They've largely neutralized the threat from the north from Hezbollah after Hezbollah launched 8,000 rockets into Israel since the October 7th attack. And also Hezbollah was planning a similar attack to October 7th. It was due to happen any time in 2023, which would have been a lot worse because they have a lot more weapons and a lot more foot soldiers than Hamas. So it's a very fragile situation. I also visited a Druze village near the Syrian border where 12 kids from the Druze community were killed by a Hezbollah rocket last year. And, you know, we have to remember this affects all communities. Hamas, Hezbollah, and Israel's enemies are indiscriminate with who they target. They kill Muslims, they kill Bedouins, Druze, Jewish, Christians. They do not discriminate. And as we know, they have Keith Siegel, who's an American citizen, in captivity. And, you know, Trump suggested sending the Gazans to Jordan, where 70% of the population are Palestinian. The Queen of Jordan is Palestinian. And Egypt, however, both King Abdullah and Egyptian President El-Sisi have said this will not happen. And they've kept their borders closed since the war began. So It's a tricky situation, but one thing remains clear is Gaza cannot go back to being governed by Hamas when
Clearly.
we see their regrouping during the ceasefire. We're seeing they're emboldened. There's thousands back on the streets parading. So, there needs to be a military force in Gaza to ensure that Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad never regroup.
And just within the past hour, 3:30 local time here, Donald Trump was asked about that, and he said they are going to take them back. So maybe there's another conversation that we're not privy to. Obviously, that would make sense diplomatically with what's happening behind the scenes. But we do know in front of the scenes today, some very, very relieved families got to embrace their loved ones. And Ali, you've been incredible speaking for a lot of the folks there. So continue to do so and continue to come back and see us. Ali London, I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course.